So, hi everyone. Good evening and welcome. I'm Shivangi from the oDoc team, and thank you all for joining us today for our second webinar of the year. And the topic today is understanding the importance of taking care of yourself to live a happier and healthier life. How much do we really know about health? We try to do all sorts of diets, all sorts of exercises on a daily basis. But what the question remains is are we doing things right? What else do we need to keep in mind when adopting healthy habits? So joining us today to express views from a more professional standpoint with regards to maintaining a healthy lifestyle is Senior Dietitian Mrs. Sigrid de Silva and Dr. Azyan Shafeek. Welcome, both of y'all. So let me start off by giving a brief introduction about the two specialists we have today. Mrs. Sigrid de Silva was born and educated in Germany and qualified as a dietitian in Kiel, and therefore obtained her detailed qualification whilst working in Dusseldorf as a senior dietitian. During the course of her work as a clinical therapeutic dietitian, she has effectively guided and educated many patients on weight management, diabetes, diverse health problems, dietary therapy, lifestyle modifications, and behavioral adjustment. And these are just a few things that I could name. Being a senior dietitian and a mother of two, Mrs. Sigrid is also a nutrition consultant, lifestyle and wellness expert, and an author. Welcome, Mrs. Sigrid.
Hi, everybody.
Dr. Azyan Shafeek obtained his primary education at St. Anthony's College, Kandy, received his MBBS, MD from the prestigious All India Institute of Medical Sciences, New Delhi. In 2012, he received his postgraduate diploma in aviation medicine. He received his postgraduate diploma in pediatric nutrition the following year and obtained his MRCGP in the year 2016. Dr. Shafeek has over 20 years of experience in pediatrics and family medicine, and she has a special interest in dermatology and preventive medicine. Mrs. Sigrid and Dr. Shafeek, thank you so much for taking your time out of your busy schedules and joining us in a conversation which I think is very important in today's day and time about maintaining good health. Welcome.
Thank you for the introduction. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the lovely introduction. And I'm glad that I'm with Miss Sigrid is complementing each other with the same topic. Yeah.
It's great. We're excited to have both of you and start this conversation off. So before we start, I would like to inform our viewers who are watching from home, offices, wherever you are, that you can also take part in this conversation and ask questions you may have regarding the topic by simply commenting on the live feed. So just send us your questions via the comment section, and I will ask both of them all your questions at the end of the session. So first question, I want to start off by asking a common question to both of you. COVID-19 has just changed everyone's lives basically. So how has COVID-19 influenced the lifestyle and eating habits of people?
So I suppose I can start on that. May I start on that? There have been
sure.
There has been plus and minus. I will just mention a few pluses that we don't have to travel like a lot of people don't have to travel like before. We don't have to endure the stress of traffic. And the biggest part of plus is, I feel, is that we have come to realize, or we have realized what is important in life. I think nobody has thought, everybody just lived and shopped and ate, and we have suddenly realized what is so important in life, and that it is health. I feel that is has become more prominent in people's minds than ever before, that we need to think before we do something. We need to think before we even mingle today. Sad to say. The negatives are, and as I said, the aforementioned is a really huge positive in my opinion. The negatives, of course, are that lately the structure of life has really changed due to COVID, due to having to stay at home, due to curfews, etc. And And we have had a lot of, I have had a lot of issues, health issues, patients with health issues who have completely changed they get up much later than normal, 2 to 3 hours later than normal. Their meal timing has completely changed. The first meal is, let's say, at 10:30, and the last meal can be also at 10:30 or even later. A lot of meals are ordered from out, means it can be also not the healthiest of meals. And that people don't mingle anymore socially, and that has had a terrible psychological effect on many. And I think Dr. Shafeek will have to say something in a minute regarding especially maybe teenagers who are cooped up with their parents for days, for weeks, for months on time, which is not normal for us as a family. I mean, we are all together when the children are small, but when the children get to be teenagers, they want to go out, they want to mingle with their friends, with their classmates, and that is all not happening. Then we have another one, we have plus and minus, and it depends on the matter of perception of the individual. And that is some people sleep more, some people sleep less. Stress is either reduced or increased because of what I mentioned earlier, this family issues. It all depends on how on each family and how you look at it and how you perceive it as well. Then some people are more fit than ever because they do exercise several times a day for 10, 15 minutes because they can do so. But before, and some have forgotten the exercise altogether because they used to go to the gym, and gym is closed, let's say, or they used to go for walks and they don't want to go for walks anymore, and they have forgotten about the exercise altogether. So that's why I say there's a plus and minus. It depends on the individual. And family time, as I mentioned earlier, family time can be a plus. More family time together can be a plus as well as it can be a minus. Additionally, quality of life can be worse, can be better. It all depends on each individual family, on each individual person, how they can handle this issue. For some, it has become better because they love to be just in their garden and this, and sleep a little later, etc., etc. For some, it has become a tremendous pressure. So therefore, mental health can be better, mental health can be worse. So there's plus, there's minus, and there's something there each family or each individual is handling it in a different way. That's all my take on that for that question for now.
Thank you. Doctor, would you like to comment?
Yeah. Now, Mrs. Sigrid has basically told you all about the plus. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes,
hello?
Can Doctor. Yes,
can
hear you,
it's
Doctor.
breaking up in between. It's breaking in between. Right, okay. Ms. Sigrid has described well on plus and the minus points of the COVID-19, how it had impacted people's life. Now, I would say that people never, expected these kind of things, and people didn't know how to adapt to this system, right? So therefore, people who started going outdoors, and actually the pace of life was so fast that, you couldn't, the pace was so fast that you couldn't catch up. People were reaching, the life was going at such a massive speed, and you can't, you need to check on that. So this was a greatest opportunity for people's life to slow down, right? And but people never realized that how they didn't know how to cope up this situation. So what they do is when they became inbound and indoors, and people who are outdoors most of the time became indoors. So therefore it was very difficult for some of them to cope up, especially mentally, right? So therefore I would say that there are many things like staying at home caused a lot of problems in they were digitally getting better, right? They were with their iPads, they were with the phones and all those things, but then they were become staying in one place, no physical activities, right? So most of them, the physical activity started going down. I would say it's not completely gone, but some people who can do certain things. But then most of the things like Mrs. Sigrid said, that people who used to go to gym, they couldn't go to the gym, and that kind of more less of outdoor, they sleeping too much. Some of them took that luxury of sleeping for more number of hours for a day, that kind of a thing. But in that on that thing, I would say the eating habits also started changing, and people had to stock. Stockpiling. It's called stockpiling. People used to stock their food for months. When they come to know that there was a lockdown, what do they stock? They started stocking all processed food, all those junky type of food where you can easily heat it up and then you start eating, right? So people were not able to get the basically a fresh food, like fresh fruits and veggies and all those things, right? So therefore, in that way, I think nutritionally, I think people were getting more. I know so many people who have just put on weight during this lockdown, and gain weight as well as they became sedentary, and they started getting obese, and so many things started coming up. So in that way, it caused more damage, right? So it caused more damage into the well-being as well as the physical health, right? The mental health as well as physical health. Many people started getting depressed, anxiety set in, especially in young adolescent children. Like I had lots of youngsters, like teenagers, who started getting depressed and panic attacks and anxiety, thinking that COVID killed so many people, that kind of thing. The news, staying inbound, watching news caused more damage, because every day you listen to people dying and so much of damages, and that caused more. And so I would say that mental health started outnumbering. Basically, mental health started becoming more and more like than the physical health, right? So, and then people were more affected in mental health from anxiety and depression and that kind of a thing. So those are the few things. Rest, I think, is being more covered, because you start watching more TV and then start having food all the time, with the TV, and then cause more problems, So I think it's a big topic to talk about if you talk about this COVID and staying at home and causing what kind of problem it has caused in people's health and mental as well as physical health. Apart from that, again, about the sleep, some people were able to sleep more than what is required, and some people were able to, they were not sleeping, though they had a chance to sleep. They were watching movies and, staying up in the night, and, the whole cycle upside down, So there are a few good things. There are some bad things also happen, but I would say more bad things than the good things.
And I think I'm very guilty about most of the things both of y'all mentioned. So I'm actually excited to, I've written some questions down, which are mostly for myself more than I think a lot of other people, but I'm excited to hear your answers for that. So first question, like I said in my introduction, many people get into various healthy diets and stuff like that. So they go vegan, low carbs, keto. There's so many new terms that's coming up every day within this dietary requirements thing. So in your opinion, Mrs. Sigrid, do these diets actually work for everyone? And what factors should one consider when taking up a diet?
Now, I got your question up front, and I was looking forward to answering as well also, because number one is you put extreme diets combined with vegan. So I need to clarify that. We can talk about omnitarian, or people who eat anything, or vegetarian, or ovo-vegetarian, ovo-lacto-vegetarian, pescatarian who eat seafood, and then vegan. Now, vegan, it is not an extreme. The others are all, what you mentioned, they are all extreme diets. Now, being vegan is not an extreme diet. Being vegan is a choice. It can be a religious choice. It can be a choice for a reason of compassion for animals. It can be a reason for being concerned about the way Earth, what is happening to the global environment. So therefore, I want to keep the vegan part aside completely. And it's not that you can, just because you turn vegan, you will lose weight. There's nothing like that. Vegans can be can be the same as obese or as a normal weight as anyone else. Then you mentioned a few other diets, and I can add to that also. I can add to that the Atkins diet, which today is called the keto. It used to be the Atkins, but slight variation. And then we had the cabbage soup diet and the egg diet, and all kinds of extreme diets. And you ask for whom this diet could work or should not work also. No extreme diet works for anyone. It is all about really balanced nutrition, because if you follow any type of extreme diet, that means you are omitting a whole food group usually. Either you are omitting, usually you mentioned the low carb diet as well. So usually you are omitting carbohydrates, and with that you can also, you can be lacking some important vitamins and minerals, because it is more meat-based as compared to vegan, completely different. It's not in the same category, but as compared to vegan. And so these type of diets, extreme diets, lead to, I call them extreme diets, and not only I call them extreme diets, they have extreme results. It can be extremely, you can lose weight in a short period of time. One can gain weight in a short period of time afterwards, because the body is demanding certain types of nutrients, and that those bodily demands, they are uncontrollable. That means you have to, someone will overeat after that. So therefore, more will be consumed, and again, weight will be gained. So it is usually with extreme diets, you get we call it also the yo-yo dieting. That means losing weight, gaining weight, losing weight, gaining weight. And usually the weight gain is fatty tissue. It's not muscle tissue. And with extreme diets, you can even lose a lot of muscle tissue, which you have acquired for years. So these extreme diets are not only unhealthy, they lead to nothing. Usually extreme diets have extreme results, and there are many people who have done a lot of these type of diets, and they always gain again, lose again, gain again, but that is not a solution, a long-term solution. That may be a solution if you want to go for some type of very important function, maybe. Can do it maybe for 7 days, but thereafter one can't do it for a longer period of time. Therefore, it is not useful for anyone really. And I want to also say, I don't know whether we have enough time actually, the keto diet, which so many people are following at the moment, unfortunately, for the last 1.5 to 2 years. That is actually, it is a clinical diet. It is a clinical diet which can be used for juvenile severe epileptics, which are only under control done in a hospital in a controlled manner. It's a very, very difficult diet to follow. It is only there's a benefit because it has an effect on brain function, positive effect on these severe juvenile epileptics on brain function. So there is something like when I first heard the keto diet as a weight loss diet, I was aghast, because naturally, and no matter how much I would talk, nobody would listen to me. I said, don't do this. This is not meant for anyone. But then again, finally it turns out to be just like the old Atkins diet, really, basically, in another quote. Yes. Did that answer your question?
Absolutely, and it was super insightful. I think I learned a lot of new things which I did not know. So thank you so much for that. Just following on, Mrs. Sigrid, I want to have another question for you. Based on dieting and everything, a new thing that came up recently was intermittent fasting. So is this a healthy way of moderating a person's calorie intake? And what type of body composition must you have to do this effectively?
You don't need any type of any specific type of body composition. Body composition means how much of lean body mass you have got and fat mass a person has. Intermittent fasting, basically, it is not a bad thing if it is done in a right way. But of course, what all the intermittent fasting people I have come across, they are doing the timing completely wrong because it suits them better. Because the timing is never given as a time as such, but it's only given as so many hours you mustn't eat. So they don't have breakfast, or they start with lunch and like that, and or they don't have lunch even, and they start eating at 4 p.m., something like that. This is not the way intermittent fasting should be. That's just because it suits them. But it is, if intermittent fasting is done correctly, one can stop eating at 3 or 4 p.m. There's no harm in that, actually. There's no harm for our body if we have a balanced diet at the beginning of the day, and our metabolic rate will be also kept very nicely throughout the day, because we are only stopping to eat towards the end of the day, where our natural metabolic rate in any case goes down. So therefore, that type of intermittent fasting is fine, stopping to eat at 3 or 4 p.m. and then restarting the next morning, even at 6, 7, or 8 a.m., that's fine. But the breakfast part is essential. But normally that is turned upside down for convenience. And it doesn't help really much. It's not really, you can't say it's unhealthy in that manner, in the manner I have described it.
Right. Thank you for clarifying that, Mrs. Sigrid. Dr. Shafeek, do you have anything to add, Doctor, or should I go on to the next question?
Just a few insight on that. Now, about this intermittent fasting and keto diet. Yeah, like Ms. Sigrid said, keto diet, is a basically a therapeutic diet in children, basically when they get epilepsies. Now, one of the form of treatment of epilepsies is they had tried out with this keto diet in some of these resistant epilepsies which does not work on medication. You try keto diet on children, and then that had been working in certain children. So that is as a part of it, right? And as per I think the keto diet is also known as paleo diet in India. I think they call it as paleo. It's very famous in India. For a diabetic, they try that. I don't know why they do that. And number two is that the other thing is about the intermittent fasting. Now, when you look at fasting, that people have gone wrong with all their timings. Like Miss Sigrid pointed out. I think the fasting starts from breakfast. That's the exact way of, you have a good breakfast or an early morning meal, which and then fast, that carries on to the next level of fasting, maybe 14 hours or 16 hours or whatever it is. But then if you keep jumbling up with the meal times, then I don't think that's intermittent fasting, basically. That messes up the whole system, right? So I think she has covered most of part of that kind of a thing, right? Yeah.
Great. Thank you for adding to that, Doctor. Just leading on with you, we know that, I think you also mentioned that exercise is very, very vital for a person's, to have exercise in a person's daily schedule is really important. But for how long should one engage in exercise on, like, let's say, a weekly basis? And what effects would this have on a person's physical well-being?
Whom did you ask to? I don't know.
To you, Dr. Shafeek.
You want me to answer? Yeah.
Yes,
okay.
To you.
Now, generally, exercise, I would say, in one's life, exercise and physical activity plays a major role, basically, right? I think starting from now, it has started, the exercise part has started from newborns, actually, right? In the UK, you have guidelines for newborn exercises also, right? 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, to keep them physically active. There are certain types of exercises where the mothers have to do on the children, that, to put them on the, activity level, like putting on their tummy and making sure that they move your limbs, and, those kind of things are also part of exercise. So that keeps them the shape, that kind of a thing. So it starts from newborn to adulthood to old age. Exercise, I think, plays a major part in people's life, and then people are not realizing how important exercise means, right? Now, according to the American Academy of Cardiologists, that we need 150 minutes of exercise per week. That is, 150 minimum. I'm talking about minimum standard to keep your healthy heart. Right? Now, this is for an adult. That is from mild to moderate exercises, basically, right? Moderate means like brisk walking, things like gardening, like little where you sweat a little, But in children, that should be doubled, basically, right? That means that instead of doing half an hour a day, you need to do an hour a day of activity, right? Either cycling or running, jogging, playing some sports activity, all those things. So that is to keep an healthy heart, right? Now, in order, the rest of the things, if you do more than that, it's all bonus, right? Which is for your muscles, for your, all kinds of things, right? So basically the minimum is 150 minutes for an adult and double that for a child, right? So
Great.
I can't hear you. Yeah. So that is as per the timing of the exercises. But then exercise can come in all forms, like any kind of physical activity. It could be vigorous or to moderate to mild to vigorous, whatever it is, right? So that is the timing part of it. Now, how does it affect the well-being of a person? Is that it causes so much of good things on one's mind and the physical activities, and the mental health, as well as your well-being, your mood, right? It gives us lots of mental alertness, like while doing exercises, right? It gives us energy and gives a positive mood, the self-esteem. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, doctor. Clearly, yeah.
Right. It actually reduces stress in people. The anxiety level in people start going down. In kids, it helps you in focusing. It helps you in good school performance. Then it's a lot of good things happens in sleep. Right now, when the days you do exercises, you have a good sleep, right? The days, that also makes you a healthy life, basically, having a good sleep, right? So, and then if you have a poor physical health, then that means it's related, it gives it into a poor mental health also. So these are interrelated, right? So it actually does is it promotes brain chemicals, the good brain chemicals. Like when you do exercises, there are chemicals, feeling good chemicals like endorphins, which is secreted in the brain, right? So that increase in endorphin. Endorphin is known as happy hormone, right? Which makes you happy, comfortable, cheerful, and going throughout the day. So people who do this early morning before their other work, they have a very good day, basically, right? So concentration wise, and like those kinds of. So what is actually people talk about well-being. What is well-being? In simple terms, it's being comfortable, happy, and healthy, right? So it's basically so therefore exercise is, I would say that it plays a major part in one's life if you really put you in your part of the schedule, and I would say that is very important. I stress more on exercise than in physical diseases also, all kinds of diseases. First thing in preventive medicine or wellness, we promote exercise, right? I think, yeah, I think the things about how to go about, I mean, like it's a big vast topic, but then again, the basic things I just pinpoint. Yeah.
Sorry, doctor.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, now we can.
Now can you hear?
Couldn't.
Yeah.
Yes, now we can.
Yeah, anything you would like to know about?
No, so that's been
about.
Sorry, doctor, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Tell me.
Okay, no, doctor, I think you answered our question perfectly. I also want to add that we've been getting some questions from the viewers. I'll ask all those questions at the end of the session. So thank you for telling us how important exercise is, doctor. Like for me, I personally don't do any exercise, but I think you've encouraged me to start doing at least something. So yeah, thank you for that. Moving on to my next question, Mrs. Sigrid, a lot of people are concerned about their immunity against COVID-19 and all of that, against the virus and stuff. Nutrition-wise, are there any specific ingredients or food that can help boost the immunity to reduce the severity of the virus or like reduce the chances of catching the virus? Is there any like credible research that's been done around this?
Yeah, I have just read very recently, and maybe Dr. Shafeek can also support that. We know for sure that very high doses, ultra doses of vitamin C and B, I think specifically B12, are taken off the list as working for that. However, we also know pretty much for sure that vitamin D3, so the sunshine vitamin, is a big factor for helping the immune system to cope. So therefore, we are pretty okay in Sri Lanka with the sunshine vitamin, because at the moment, we are definitely pretty okay with the sunshine vitamin. And we have, in any case, this is not only, it's not only because of COVID. We get now a lot of reports where there's a vitamin D deficiency. These reports were previously not even conducted in Sri Lanka. And now we see blood reports with vitamin D deficiency. And I think it's so sad to see that in a country like Sri Lanka, because it is completely unnecessary. I mean, we are not Finland, we are not Norway, where you can't avoid that. To a certain extent, you definitely can't avoid that. And in this country, you can avoid it. And I always say, even if you get injections or if you take supplements, sunshine has much more than it's just the sunshine vitamin as such. Sunshine, I'm sure it's not half researched how important sunshine is. I like to give a very practical example. I mean, because I like to give drastic examples for people to understand it. So you have a plant and you give the plant all the fertilizer and you give the plant all the necessary water, but you lock it up in the cupboard. So I know we are not plants. I know we are far from plants, but however, we do need sunshine. I mean, we are not like certain animals living underground. Also, we are day active creatures. We have evolved as day active creatures. That's why we only can see during the day and we can't see in the dark. Of course, everybody's trying to tell me that they are night owls, but they are not. Because they can't see when everything is switched off, their devices and the lights are switched off. So therefore, with immunity, and we have now talked about D3 and the sunshine vitamin, I consider that a major factor regarding COVID and regarding a lot of other issues, health issues. The other one, which I find very important, and Dr. Shafeek talked about that, of course, is exercise. Exercise also helps for that. I would name that as the number 2, or maybe even on the same level as when we talk about COVID, that somebody is fit to withstand, physically fit to withstand disease. So other than that, when it comes to nutrition, now I've mentioned 2 which are not necessarily nutrition, although we can take part of vitamin D through nutrition. Other than that, of course, we know that the high intake of highly processed foods and high intake of sugar, as well as alcohol, weakens our immune system. So therefore, we know the negative also. So high, and Dr. Shafeek said it also earlier, a lot of highly processed foods were bought and consumed and are still being bought. But that is not only because of COVID. I think that has been happening right along. So therefore, that is the negative. That's what one should cut down on as much as possible. And nutrition-wise, what one should up is something like phytochemical rich foods. Those are mainly the vegetables and fruits. I think more vegetables and fruits, because fruits also contain sugar. So the very colorful foods, hardly processed foods, if at all. I mean, anything is really processed today to some extent. such as vegetables, and the more colorful, the more antioxidants and the more phytochemical this food consists of. So this is what we can do with nutrition. Apart from, of course, having balanced nutrition, good meal timing, etc. But we had mentioned that earlier. I know you're a little bit distracted there.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is why these are the take. This is what I would say regarding what we can do: exercise, sunshine, because we have it, exactly. And both are actually can be free. And phytochemicals, food high in phytochemicals and low in sugar, and highly processed foods. Highly processed is what is really where we can't recognize anymore exactly the way it is processed.
Right. Okay. Great. Thank you so much for that, Mrs. Sigrid. I mean, like you said, most of them are free. So guys, let's just go out and like enjoy the sun.
Aren't we lucky?
Yeah.
Can I add few things on that?
Of course.
Right. Now, I think she had pointed out about vitamin D. Now, that's actually becoming such a common thing now. Can you hear me?
Yeah, and doctor.
Can you hear me? Yeah. I have been seeing vitamin D deficiency starting from newborns. Right. Now, this is a huge problem. Right. Yeah. In the sense, like, I think almost 70% of Sri Lankans are vitamin D deficient, which is such a disastrous thing, being sunny environment, right? That is because this generation, they don't like to be in the sun. So most of them are shying away from the sun, right? Even schoolings, now we used to walk to school and walk back home. Nowadays, all go in the vehicles, get down and then go to the auditorium, indoors, nobody's playing outdoors, right? And the critical time and the best time to get the sunlight is between 11 and 3. 11 in the morning and 3 in the afternoon. This is a peak. You need about 50 minutes of exposure to the sunlight, right? And the best part and the thing is why Sri Lankans are vitamin D deficient. One is that they have found that because of the pigment in your body, basically the melanin. The more the melanin pigment in your body, that causes less absorption of vitamin D. So probably Mrs. Sigrid is absorption for her is more than us.
Yeah.
Because yeah, so when she stays in the sun for 15 minutes, she can absorb maximum vitamin D compared to us because of a pigment, right? One. Yeah. Number two is that the maximum absorption starts from small days, from smaller age. As you get older and older, the absorption capacity goes down. So if you want to get more vitamin D, you should start from small, from the young, from the infants to children to adolescents and into adult, that kind of a thing, right? So all children should go more outdoor if you want your vitamin D levels to be normal, but which is not happening at all. Yeah. One. Number two is that, that is very sad to say because
very sad.
It's reversing. And vitamin D has got so much of vitamin D deficiency, of so much of clinical. Now only people are finding out what symptoms are coming. I had so many people with anxiety, depression. When you backdate and when you check them, it's vitamin D deficiency. The moment you start giving vitamin D, that even the anxiety and depression goes off. Now, when you come to COVID, now Mrs. Sigrid had correctly pinpointed out what are the things which you keep to immune boosters. Basically, one is lot of sleep, right? You need at least 8 hours of sleep to boost your immunity. A good night's sleep, right? Number two, hydration is very important. Number three, exercise. Then now the immune boosters, the food which has got more immune boosters, like more proteins in your diet, right? More proteins in your diet, then vegetables, fruits, right? And on top of that, the supplements come into. Now, what are the supplements which are recommended by WHO now is vitamin D. In US, they start giving vitamin D 4,000 units, right? They are recommending 4,000 units of vitamin D to keep away from COVID, keep away from COVID-related complication, and keep away from death, right? And vitamin C as well as zinc. These are all immune boosters, right? Apart from I think I would grade exercise on the top, right? Exercise, people who do vigorous exercise and keep them healthy and think they are less chances of getting COVID. and COVID complication, because they can tolerate the infection very well. And I think I have just highlighted few things which on top of just to cream it up.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah?
Thank you to
May
both.
I just say something? I'm so happy that Dr. Shafeek also is so concerned about this vitamin D deficiency.
Yep.
It's I know it's not, I'm not saying because it's not COVID related. It is so sad to see this happening, and it is irreversible in some. It is
Yep.
irreversible because it is, like you said, Dr. Shafeek, it's from childhood. There has been a deficiency. And it continues into adulthood. It continues when, going in an office van, pickup is at 6. Now we don't have that at the moment so much, but I'm just talking about previous times. But at the moment, everybody's just inside home. So office van, straight from office van into office, then going into the office van again, coming home at 7 or 8, or a car or whatever that may be. And zero exposure to sunlight. I mean, it's dreadful, and nobody understands the importance of sunlight. So sorry, I just had to say that because it makes me very upset, because it's so unnecessary. It's so unnecessary.
Yeah, and I think.
Yeah, I think because that we'll have to take supplements, which actually supplements are coming now into play. Like vitamin D. From starting from newborns to the adulthood to the old age, everybody has to go on vitamin D now.
But sad for Sri Lanka.
Yes, definitely, yes. I agree.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, Norway, Finland, all that I can understand.
I know.
Thank you to both of you for shedding some light on something that isn't very common knowledge, I'd say. So thank you for that. Due to time constraints, I'm just going to go straight into our next question. This is with Dr. Shafeek. When we had asked for a introduction, when I was telling you about the introduction, when I was introducing you, I also mentioned that you were really keen on pediatrics. So I have a very pediatrics related questions for all the mothers and the fathers who are listening in today. Keeping children away from junk food is quite a difficult task for any parent, and that's a well-known fact also. Keeping this in mind, doctor, what advice would you give parents on providing proper nutrition to their children? How often should they engage with children in exercises and some sort of activity to ensure that children are healthy? I think you've answered that part. But more importantly, how do you give them a proper nutrition?
Yeah, now I think I'll start with the exercise, though I mentioned about that. I think like I said, that now the guidelines is that starting from newborns, you start giving some sort of exercises. So I think all children should do some form of activity at least once, per day, at least 60 minutes per day. That's minimum. Either cycling or walking or running or, whatever it is, and some kind of physical activity. So you have to encourage them. Now, if you can't say that I don't have time. Actually, even a child who's studying, you make sure that he studies for 1 hour and then get up from the chair and walk for 10 minutes. He goes inside the house or outside the house, just walks for about 10 minutes and then comes back again and then sits for the next session, So that kind of a thing. So that kind of exercise is more than enough if you are engaged in your studies.
Right.
But as a routine, I think every day you should start doing some kind of physical activity for you to remain healthy. And, like I told you, what are the effects of exercises? What are the good things which happens, that helps you in concentration and all. Now, let's come to the diet now. Junk food is being the norm of the, norm of the world now, junk food is such a popular thing now. So how do you keep away from these kind of things now? How do you convince your child that this is bad and this is good and all those things? Now, there are a few things like you can't now, if a child is being given junk food every day, now it's not easy to keep away from the junk food. Suddenly you can't tell him, okay, you don't have this forever. You can't do that. So how do you do is that you gradually introduce the nutritious food in between. Now, if you are having all junk food, 3 meals junk food, then you make 1 meal healthy meal and then 2 junk. Then you, as the days progresses, you start slowly, to remove the junk off one by one and start introducing the new things, right? How do you do? Now, some people, what they do is that they reward the children. When you eat a good meal, they reward. How do they reward is, again, give something junk, a candy or something like that, and tell that, okay, you have eaten a fruit, so I'm going to give you a lollipop, you know? So without doing that, you have to reward in a way that more than the rewarding, the new way of doing it is to introduce them, give them talk shows, like ask someone who is nutritional expert, who like Sigrid or whoever is, like to come and talk to the children about good nutrition, how it keeps them healthy, starting from the Montessori to the grade 1, grade 2s, grade 3. You have to have these talk shows, like in a sense, like nutritional advisors who comes and talks in the school, tell them about good food, how to remain healthy, how do you grow up. You have to give them positive thoughts, like if you eat a carrot, you will become like this, you will become fair, you will become like this, you know, those kind of things, which infuses into the brain of the children, you know. And so that is the starting point. And then you have, you know, there are other things like, you know, even the fast food joints have to start doing their part, like, you know, like say, like when you take burger places, with the burgers, rather than serving French fries, you should give a fruit with burger, you know. So then they substitute, so that the child, it becomes into a mind of the child, okay, I am going to eat this also along with that. So basically you start substituting one by one, so that you try to keep away, rather than completely discontinuing the junk food, which is not possible in a child's this thing, because they are so used to that. So that's the way you have to come out of it, right? So and parents should play a big role in this. Now, you can't ask a child not to eat a burger or a pizza and bring burger and pizza for the parents to eat, right? So the whole family has to sacrifice. The whole family has to sacrifice if you want. Now, say like you have an obese child in the house and you want to bring him down. How to bring his calories down? By introducing lots of healthy. So it doesn't mean that you have to make sure that you don't bring all the junks into the house and others eat and this child not to eat. You know, that is wrong. So the entire house has to sacrifice this, right? And promote more of healthy meals. Keep all healthy meals in the house, right? You know, like more vegetables, more fruits, right? Tell the importance. Keep talking to the child the importance of a healthy diet. You know, what it can do to what harm the junk diet can do to the mind, the body of the child, you know. And I think I just covered few of these important aspects. Yeah.
Great. Thank you, Doctor. I hope all the parents watching have taken some note. Also, due to time constraints, I'm just going to jump on to the last question for both of you, because we have some questions that come in from our viewers. I want to cater to that also. So as a way to wrap this up, one last question for Mrs. Sigrid. What advice would you give a person who wants to eat healthy but faces great difficulty in following through with it?
Now, if a person wants to really eat healthy, it will happen. It depends on your mindset. If you really, if you really want something, it will happen. So it's not considered a difficulty. If a person finds it a difficulty, means in the sense, yeah, I should eat healthy, I would like to eat healthy, but, and then I would say, first ask yourself why you want to eat healthy. And when you answer the question of why, you will understand why you should really go through with it. If still you find this problem within yourself, maybe, I would like to say that it is always important to have support. Support at home. You can maybe professional support, but support at home, support at work. Friends should be supportive and not saying, this one meal doesn't matter or this doesn't matter. Then one comes to, then one meal, the next meal, the next meal, the next meal. So it's all adding up and then the whole your willpower collapses or so. So everybody should be really supportive. I feel that support helps a lot. If a person can't do it alone, despite the why and despite knowing everything, then support is essential. Coming back to the previous question, I just want to say, and I think Dr. Shafeek said it also, that comes also the support when it comes to children. The parents have to set the example. They cannot both parents cannot be obese and have the child come to a dietitian and then say, you know, you have to, see, Puta, you have to lose weight. See, like that. So you can't, it's just not fair. The whole family has to work together at that. The whole family means including the grandparents, because sometimes that is a problem. Everybody should pull on one side, because how difficult it already is for this child. Therefore, the example has to be there, and everybody has to support. Everybody has to support, and the shopping list should be accordingly. And also, I want to say this, talking about junk food earlier. Sorry, I'm coming back to the earlier question. Yeah. Junk food is addictive. So the more junk food, like sugar, the more junk food is being taken, the more the person or the individual or the child wants. So it is addictive, that's a fact. So therefore, one should know that from the beginning of giving junk food, that it may be addictive. That's all.
Thank you. So if both of y'all don't mind, I'll jump straight into the viewer's question, if that's okay?
Yeah, it's all right.
All right. So one question from Joel Daniel was, there has been a significant reduction in people visiting hospitals for consultations with regards to minor illnesses. Do you feel this trend needs to continue?
Yeah, now there are very difficult to tell. There are a few good things and the bad things of now what is minor. Now basically the parent or the person or the mother or father won't know what is minor and what is major illnesses, right? A simple cold and a cough could be a serious issue also, right? Now sometimes now we consider a cold and a cough to be just a viral flu, but then you can't self-medicate yourself in the house, because the cough could be a wheeze, a cough could be a pneumonia also, right? So therefore, if you can come early to sort it out, go to your doctor and sort it out, then you can prevent it from going to the next stage, next bad stage. Now what we have found is that people are coming late. Now they keep the child or the individual home, and then they start treating with all home remedies and, you know, that kind of a thing. And then once the patient gets bad, they bring to the hospital. So by that time, it has caused more damages. Basically, it has gone to the next level. So who decides now? How do the parents won't know how to decide? So I think that's why a platform like this, like oDoc or whatever it is, very important, so that you can initially have an assessment. Now I use this platform to do that. Initially I assess, and if I find that something is the child is or the person is really bad by the look or symptoms, I ask them to come immediately to the hospital, because then you can assess and then quickly start medication. So definitely, yes, there is a drop in the amount of patients coming into the hospital because of the fear of getting COVID when they get into the hospital. In one way, you know, there are good and the bad things of that also, because I think that has to be decided by the doctor, not the parent, I would say. So the initial assessment has to be done by the doctor to decide on whether to come to the hospital or whether he can be treated at home. Yeah.
No, definitely. Yes, thank you for that, doctor. Another question from Gayangi Karnaratna. I think this is for Ms. Sigrid. Do you recommend a meat/fish-free diet for a 5-year-old kid? Veggies, egg, milk is there, but doesn't like fish/meat.
If eggs and milk or the dairy products are there, it's fine. That means it's overlap to vegetarian. That's fine. It doesn't have to be fish or meat. For balanced nutrition, it would be definitely sufficient.
Great. Okay. Thank you for that. One more question. Riyasa Samad had asked, when going for walks in the morning, if I'm fully covered except for the face and the hands, won't I get the vitamin D at all? Should my skin be fully exposed to the sun to obtain vitamin D from the sun?
Yeah, you want me to answer? Yeah.
Anyone? Yeah.
Yeah. Now, basically, vitamin D, you have to get exposed. The whole, especially the limbs and the face. The body. I'm not asking you the whole body. At least the limbs and the face has to be exposed, because that is you need an area of absorption into your body. Now, if you cover yourself, that's why we have found that most of the ladies who are covering their whole body, they are more vitamin D deficient than the people who are not covering. We have seen that the amount of vitamin D, the amount, like the deficiency, how much it's deficient and all, you can see the values. When you see the values, people who have covered the entire body from face to toe are extremely vitamin D deficient, right? So therefore, with your exposure, the amount what you can expose, you have to expose as much as possible for your vitamin D to get absorbed in your body. Yeah. Anything, Ms. Sigrid, you want to add something in that?
No, that's of course that is it is a problem for a community, but yes, that is basically that's the way it is. And like you said, the levels of D deficiency in certain communities are it's terrible. It's really, especially in females, like you said. Yeah. So yeah, the sun will not be absorbed through, or hardly. There may be, it depends on the material as well, but will not be absorbed through clothing.
Great, thank you for clarifying that. And I think one last question for the day. Joel Daniel again has said 1,000 units of vitamin D, 1,000 units of vitamin C, 1,000 units of fish oil, 1 tablet of Zincovit, and steam inhalation. Has been told he's been told to follow this to support the avoidance of corona. Please clarify.
Yeah. Now, you can't actually guarantee you that avoidance of corona. It's not avoidance of corona. Corona is basically a respiratory tract infection. Like it's like a common cold. It enters through your respiratory passages. What these supplements or the nutrition part does is it builds up your immunity, right? So that your fighting power towards corona is increased. Though the virus enters your body, you need an immunity to fight back and build up antibodies and that kind of a thing. So but by taking supplements, you can't avoid corona from getting into your system, but you can fight corona when it enters your body. Yeah.
Yes, great. Thank you for clarifying that. I think that was a question it's something that's been going around amongst the public, and I'm so glad that you all clarified it. So we've come to the end of our session. Thank you so much, Mrs. Sigrid and Dr. Shafeek, for joining us today. It has been very, very insightful, very informative session for me, and I'm sure everyone who's been watching would also feel that way. So it's been a great session on general guidelines for maintaining good health also. So many of my doubts have been clarified. So if you wish to get personal advice from Mrs. Sigrid or Dr. Shafeek in a more private setting, you could always consult them through oDoc and clarify all your doubts that you may have from the safety of your home. With that, again, a huge thank you to both of you for taking your time out of your busy schedule to talk to me and to the rest of us who's been watching and clarifying a lot of questions. I know we skipped a few questions, but maybe we could do the session once again so we can cover more topics. It's been a great
sure.
Yeah, I would like to put a little this thing about. I think this is now. I am also promoting more like it's like in Mrs. Sigrid's line, basically into wellness. Basically, now this has to be the talk of the town. Basically, you need to promote wellness in people, right? What we generally do is that we treat diseases. Now we wait till someone falls sick to start treating. Now what I am also trying to promote is preventive medicine. How do you
yes.
Medicine is by So I think this is a great platform to approach people and talk about more of preventive medicine and wellness. Basically, I think that is the way out to keep a healthy nation going, rather than waiting for the sickness to come in and start working backwards. So I'm very glad that you brought the topic.
I totally agree. I think you said it perfectly. Working backward rather than working backwards.
Yes, definitely.
Prevention. Definitely. Yeah. How much can be? Yeah.
I think at oDoc, every single one of us at oDoc believes that preventive care is super, super important. And that's something we want to take to every single person in Sri Lanka and in regionally also. That's what we're planning. So once again, thank you so much to both of you all for supporting oDoc and for being here today and clarifying all our questions. So with that, I would like to conclude the session. Wishing everyone a pleasant evening. This is Shivangi from Team oDoc signing off. Thanks to both Mrs. Sigrid and Dr. Shafeek once again. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.